Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to talk about the Stamina Dragonknight PvE build Venom for Morrowind. Stam Dragoknights are one of the highest DPS setup this patch. It's just pretty hard to play. It will take time to get used to it. On my website I do have a written guide. If you want to go check it out, I will put the link into the description. Now, looking at our stats, we have pretty nice numbers overall. You see, I have 6 points into health because I'm using 7 medium, and I always recommend having like 17k health for dungeons and trials. So that's why I have 6 points here. Now, we are using a heavy attack build, that's why our stamina recovery is so low. I will, in the second part of the video, I will show off the rotation, and I will also show you how you can animation cancel the heavy attacks properly, because the rotation is really fast, despite us using heavy attacks. Thief Mundus Stone. Race, so you can run Redguard, Imperial or Kashyyyk. Kashyyyk has the most damage, Redguard has best sustain, Imperial has overall like most health and stamina, I guess. In the end, it's up to you. I just prefer still Redguard. I'm also a vampire because of this here. Now I recommend, like, when there is fire damage in a dungeon, you should decrease your vamp stage to stage 1. Do I have, yeah, this here, when you drink this food or this drink, it reduces the vampire stage. If there is no fire damage, then use this. Buff food wise, max health, max stam, really good. And the weapon power pots, like always, to get major brutality and restore stamina. In terms of gear, so I'm using the best in slot setup, but like I said, the gear is pretty hard to get. Like 2 Fang Snake drops in Sanctum of Fide, if I remember correctly. 5000 penetration is insane. This is basically a must have. And then I use War Machine. This is a new set, it drops in Halls of Fabrication. When you use the ultimate ability, you and the 2 closest allies gain Major Slayer for 10 seconds, which increases your damage by 15%. It's really strong. We are mostly using Dawnbreaker, we don't even use Standard. It's like, since the nerf, the Standard is not really that good anymore, sadly. And with this set, Dawnbreaker will give us more overall damage. And also, obviously, your group members. That's the thing. Now, like I said, this, especially weapons, are pretty hard to get. You also could run Hunting's Rage instead of War Machine. You will have about the same DPS, maybe even slightly more, just your group members will not get boosted DPS, like boosted damage. I'm using Infused here for the weapon damage enchant. You see, it gets stronger, 470 in weapon damage, and it also reduces the cooldown, so you have like a 60 to 65% uptime, which is really nice. And the sharpened dagger with a poison damage enchant. You also can run 2 sharpened weapons, or like a precise weapon and a sharpened one. Just make sure to have 1 sharpened. Monster set, I'm running Validref. Try to have full divine setup. I just have infused because I don't have a divine piece. Hits still like a truck, this, even though it can't crit, but it's still really strong. Now, the weapon bow, you want to have the Maelstrom and bow sharpened. The thing is, having infused on the front bar also boosts the volley damage a little bit from the Thunderous Volley enchantment. This is your strongest ability, the Endless Hail. And the Maelstrom bow doubles the damage by 2, basically. It's insanely strong. That's it about the gear setup. Like I said, if you want more max health, you can run a 5 medium, 1 heavy, 1 light setup. It's up to you. Champion points. Those here are not that important. Just make sure to have 100 points into tenacity, because we always do heavy attacks. The reason why I have 50 here is because to break free in the new trial, you need to break free a lot, so it's really helpful. And 49, 49, 48. 3 and 61. Now here is where the important part is. 56 mighty, 56 taunt, 56 precise strikes, and 26 piercing. If you run 2 sharpened weapons, you don't need any points in here. If you only run 1, I recommend putting 26 here. and 16 in mastered arms. You can play around with this a little bit, but the percentage changes are really small in the end. In terms of skills, let's start with the back bar. It's always the same for stem setups. Endless Hail, Rearming Trap, Poison Extraction and Cult Drops. I like running anti-cavalry cult drops because they have a longer duration. Sometimes I don't have enough stamina, so I just use this every second rotation. That's why I use the longer one, but in the end the difference is really small. Molten Armaments gives you 40% more damage on your heavy attacks. Now the standard, why is this here? Technically you could use the Dawnbreaker to get more weapon damage. I just like having this here in, like, when we're in an execute phase or something. There's a lot of incoming damage. You could save up your standard to get the 15% damage reduction while it's active. That's the only reason it's here. Dawnbreaker, or you even could use Corrosive Armor, but I think it's a little bit overkill. Front bar, Claw, probably the strongest single target dot, Deadly Cloak. Now this is a really strong ability. Gives you 25% damage reduction on your AoE, on the enemy's AoE. It's like insanely OP. That's why, like, stamina has pretty nice durability. It used to be 20%, now it's 25%, so it's really nice. Noxious Breath, you can use this in trash fights. You don't necessarily need it on single target. Then we have Rending Slashes, another single target dot, and Flames of Oblivion. And the Dawnbreaker. Now you see it costs 125 ulti points, and it also increases our weapon damage by 8%, because you see, this here increases your weapon damage by 3% for each fighter skill ability slotted. So we have this here and this here. It's 8%. If you don't want to run Noxious Breath, you also could slot Camo Hunter here to get another 3% extra weapon damage. That's things you can do. Now, you could run the other morph here, Block Race. It would give you slightly, like a little bit of healing. In the end, if you have good healers, Rending Slashes will be enough. If you don't trust your healers, maybe run Blood Craze. So to show you off the heavy attacks, basically a full heavy attack is this, right? Pretty long, but now when I use animation cancelling, see, it's a lot shorter. And that's what you need to practice. Dual wield has probably the fastest heavy attacks, so yeah. On the back bar we do light attacks all the time. Something else I want to mention is, before you engage into the boss fight, always make sure to have Deadly Cloak up and Flames of Oblivion, because you can activate those previously, and also Molten Armaments. Every time you use Molten Armaments, Helping Hands, which gives you 990 stamina. That's also something nice. Obviously Battle Roll is also here, which boosts our, like, resource management. Every time we use this, for each ulti point we get 46 health, magic and stamina back, so that's really cool. In terms of rotation, like I said, you want to have all that stuff up already. When you engage, drop your Endless Hail and Trap, Poison Extraction, Cult Drop. Always light attack in between, and then weapon swap. Heavy attack, then apply all your dots. And more or less, when you applied all your dots, you can weapon swap to the back bar again and apply those here again. To show you how this looks fast paced. And so on and so on. What I do recommend is, on PC, track Endless Hail. Like when it reaches 2 seconds, you should be more or less finished with your rotation and swap to the back bar again to reapply all the dots. Now Stem Dragonknight has one of the easier rotations for stamina because you literally are only reapplying dots. You don't do anything else. That's why, like, once you know the rotation, it's pretty simple. But till there, it's actually pretty difficult to learn because it's fast-paced. I hope that's understandable how the rotation works. The only thing that is out of place is Deadly Cloak and Flames of Oblivion. You have to reapply those, like this has a 15 seconds and this too. Sometimes I reapply Deadly Cloak every rotation because I have time. But if you're a little bit slow with animation cancelling, you might not have time to activate this every rotation. Now on boss fights, you don't necessarily need this. It's a nice addition, but you also could run volatile armor, especially in the new trial. Damage mitigation is very nice. This gives you like 10% damage mitigation. Or you could run the camo thingy just to increase your weapon damage, like I said previously. So yeah, then it's up to you. Or like Steel Tornado actually also works, but you don't necessarily need it on trash fights. Like heavy attacks and applying dots, and you have Endless Hail and Cult Drops, and the Dawnbreaker and Deadly Cloak. That's already a lot of damage. I hope you kinda understood this a little bit. Stem Dragonknight really strong this patch, so better get farming. Now if you do have any questions, please ask me in the comment section below. If you liked the video, please hit that like button. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.